Okay, we're going to continue with reviewing our factoring methods for Algebra 2. Today we're going to talk about the X method or X factor. Some schools call it X box, depending on how they set it up. And this is to be used when we have a trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that a out, and I'm going to cross off this step because we don't even need it here. Actually, I don't want to cross the whole thing off. I just want to cross this off and put a c there. Because we actually are going to not have to use AC since there's not an A there. And then this is a C. So we are going to kind of work our way through this. In your polynomial, A is always in front of your x squared, B is always in front of your x, C is your constant. So you can label those if that helps you out. In AC split, which we're doing tomorrow, you would need to multiply A times C. But since A is actually 1, or it's not there, we're going to put our C in the top of the X. And then we're going to put our B on the bottom. Okay, and our goal is to find the two numbers that multiply to give me 20 and add up to negative 12. So if you're not sure, we could always do this. 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. So I noticed that 2 times 10 would give me a positive 12. So to get a negative 12, I could actually just make them both negative. So negative 2 times negative 10 is positive 20, and negative 2 plus negative 10 is negative 12. Once I get here, again, because there's nothing out front, because my A is 1 or there's not anything in front of my x squared, I can go right to my parentheses. So to do that, I'm going to split this, so I have x in the front of each set, and then my numbers that I just found for my sides of my x are going to come down. So I have a minus 2 and a minus 10. Okay, so there's my factoring using x factor. And again, x factor only works when there's nothing in front of your x squared. You can check this by FOILing. You get x squared minus 10x minus 2x plus 20. And if you combine these two like terms, we would end up with the original problem. Okay, so know that my answer is good. X minus 2 times x minus 10. Okay, let's go ahead and do the next several. Make your x. There's nothing out front, so my c goes on the top. My b goes on the bottom. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me 7. Okay, the only factors is 7 or 1 and 7. But they add up to negative 8. So I'm actually going to make those both negative. And once I have those, I can go right to my parentheses. I have a b minus 1 and a b minus 7. Final answer. Okay, for b, top of my x, I have a 108. On the bottom, I have a 21. And this is where students get stuck. They know how to set it up. They understand what they need to do. They have a hard time finding the factors. So all I do is go through. Can I divide 108 by 1? Yes. Can I divide 108 by 2? Yes. Can I divide by 3? Yes. Can I divide by 4? Yes. 5 doesn't work. I can divide by 6. I believe I get 18 there. Can I divide by 7? Cannot divide by 8, but I can divide by 9. Can't divide by 10, can't divide by 11, and then we get to 12 and keep working our way back up. So now that I have my list of possible factors, I can actually go through and identify which ones will add up to give me 21. So I'm going to use these two on my sides. So 9 and 12. So my factored form is x plus 9 times x plus 12. Okay. Let's do another one. Top of my x this time has a negative 28. The bottom has a negative 3. So the two factors that multiply to give me 28 are either 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 4 and 7. So here's the difference here. My top number is negative. That means that one of my numbers has to be negative here. And since the bottom is negative, I know that the bigger of the two should be the one that's negative. Okay, so I'm going to check that. And I notice, once I put that negative sign in there, that 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3. Okay, so I'm going to use those two. I can check 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3. So I get x plus 4 and x minus 7. Final answer, factored form. Okay, last one. Negative 20 on the top, and there's technically a 1 there. So I need factors of 20, or negative 20, that add up to 1. So I have 3 possibilities. And again, because that 20 is negative, I know that I need to have a negative sign for one of these, and then the bottom is positive, so I'm going to make my smaller one negative this time. And by doing that, I see that negative 4 plus 5 would give me 1. So I'm going to have v minus 4 times v plus 5. That'll be good. Be careful because you're going to get some that look something like this. And these are actually where x factor is hidden. And what you should always do is check for a GCF first. So when I look at those three coefficients, I notice that I can divide them all by 6. And if I do that, I'm left with r squared plus 9r plus 20. So now that I've divided everything by 6, I can see that I can use my x method. The 20 will go on the top and the 9 will go on the bottom. So the two numbers that multiply to give me 20 and add up to 9 are 4 and 5. So I can factor this to be r plus 4 times r plus 5, but I don't want to forget that I divided by 6 at the beginning, so I'm going to bring that down. Okay, one more. Again, looking at these, I can divide them by 6, so I'm left with n squared minus 9n plus 18. So the top of my x has an 18 in it. The bottom has a negative 9. So I need to find the two numbers that multiply to give me positive 18 and add up to negative 9. And I notice that 3 times 6 is 9, so I really need to just change those signs there and make them negative 3 and negative 6. So I get n minus 3 times n minus 6, and then again bring that 6 down. Okay. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. We're going to continue in the next video with our last method, which is AC split.